Okay.
Hi, everybody. Just letting you know, I just started the recording. Good morning, afternoon, 12:07 to everybody. And welcome, Linda. It's great to have you with us. Which school district are you in?
I am in Wayzata.
Oh, Wayzata. Okay,
And
great.
I teach 2 classes in Brooklyn Center.
Great.
284 and 280.
Great. And we were just talking about kids and eating, and this starts from a class that you have related to nutrition, Linda.
That's right. It was a brainstorm. How are we going to fill this time with no registrants in a, 11 to 1:30 class?
Mhm.
And 3 teachers sitting there available to. And our proposal was accepted to call it Lunch Bunch and invite families in to play, have lunch together, learn about different topics relating to food and feeding kids and feeding littles, as the the Instagram account is called, because that's actually referred to it as Feeding Littles. I did not know there was an Insta account by that name. And one family has a very particular picky eater and wanted some help and ideas with that. So it kind of sprang from need as well as, challenges.
Wonderful. And it's been, and you've gotten attendance?
We have, it's been low, but we're doing it again next year, as far as I know.
Good.
So we'll grow. One family declined the opportunity to come because I told her she couldn't bring, that we didn't allow peanuts or peanut products or peanut butter. She said, well, what am I supposed to bring for my kid? That's all he eats. And I'm like, that's the whole point of the class. But I'm sorry, there are other things that we do allow, many other things, but that is not allowed at our school. So we never saw her. So that was interesting.
Interesting. So my general question, and welcome, Nikki and Melissa, is this sort of, to me, brings up a topic of special topic classes. How many of you have, and then of course, I mean, like Linda was saying, I would imagine with any special topic class, you don't stay on the topic because it's all related to parenting and it's all related to children's development and family life and things like that. So, you sort of bring people in around a topic and you end up doing parent ed. But are special topic classes a thing in your districts? Do you do them? Are they popular?
Well, I'll just respond to follow up. We've tried them and we offer a district-wide Parenting with Vision special topics for K through 12. E through 12 is not usually included in Parenting with Vision currently, but it has been in past years. And that's a kind of a school-wide opportunity. Some of them have been done online and some are done in person now.
Well, I have a question about special topic classes because sometimes you only need a couple weeks to do it, right? And I kind of want to do like 3-week things, but my coordinator says that we can't do that because they need to be 5 weeks in order to count as a class. Otherwise, they're a special event in the STARF. Okay, so Nikki, you're shaking your head no. Melissa, you're nodding yes. Mary, okay. So how do you guys get around that? Because I think some special topic things would be really great, but I don't want to do a 5-week thing. I want to do like a 3 or 4 week thing. So how do you fix
Ellen,
that?
the barrier that I find is that it's hard to schedule it. So the administrative piece of it is what gets in the way at our district. So not like we wouldn't want to, but they said, how do we bill that? And it's complicated and it puts in a speed bump. Like, so they have a certain formula they like to use and they just want to stick to the formula. But that's not really answering your question, but that's one of the speed bumps we run into for doing special event versus a special event versus a
Class.
topic based.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's something somebody else runs into it or not, but
So we've offered it a couple of different ways where I did do a series class with like an overhead topic with each week. I ended up offering it virtual this last time. So it was like building confidence or star qualities, and then you could base all of the different ones off of that, and did like a 5-week class to have it be a series class. But then we've also done what we called treats and techniques. So I buy little treats to bring in and we do the classes, and we just offer them, we were offering them, so there were 2 a month. And then each class was a different, it was an 1.5-hour class, and each class was a different topic. But you could do it kind of in that series class where you could sign up for, like, we had them sign up individually for each one. So it was considered the events.
Oh, so the topic, so you would do maybe sleep and then eating, and then they could sign up. Okay, so then it was coded as a one-time event. Well, and the thing is.
But you could do it where you want it as a series class. You could do treats and techniques.
Oh,
and you could have
sure.
all the individual series class and have them
Underneath
sign
it.
up for the whole thing, but they would know what all the topics are going to be
Ahead of time.
beforehand. And then maybe
Okay.
you could sign up as a series class if you did that.
Oh, I really like that, because our sessions are often like 9 or 10 weeks, and we can't, I want to do more than 2 5-week sessions. I want to do like that. We talk about sleep for 3 weeks. We talk about eating for 3 weeks. We talk about discipline for 3 weeks, like kind of do a deep dive more than an hour, but that's what we can't, we said we can't do that because it has to be at least 5, which is, but I love that idea. I love that idea. Thank you.
Ellen,
And
I'm
also-
curious, as a parent educator, how you get to say, I want to teach this class. And
Oh.
I just don't, I have so much less of a voice in my administration than that. Like, I don't get the whole, like, I want to teach a class on this and this is when I can teach it. Like,
Oh,
I
I'm
don't,
sorry.
how do you make that work?
I can do whatever. I mean, I'm really lucky. I'm able, if I want to teach a class on a Tuesday night, we talk about it as a team, and I'm like, let's try it and see if it works. I mean, we choose our schedule. We choose the classes we're going to offer.
is
My
that
district
related
is
to
the
lead?
exact opposite of that. I find out the classes that I've been assigned to the week before they start at the end of August, or the first week of September, and the bulletin or program guide or whatever has or is already out now. It was made mid-March. So like if I had a great idea for a class, it would maybe be able to get on something if I talked with my administrator about it for like 23, 24, like, but I couldn't just say, hey, this fall I want to do this
Oh, no.
at all.
I
I
had
don't
to
even know
talk-
what classes I'm gonna get.
Becca,
That's
I had to
good.
talk to them a lot about that because they wanted us to decide what we were going to be teaching like a year in advance. And I was like, I can't do that if you want me to be relevant to what parents need. So we started having that conversation, and we took out of, we used to be part of the community ed booklet, and I said, we need our own. And so we started doing our ECFE one. So now we get to do them in the fall, the winter, the spring, and the summer. And so I just have to know like about a month and a half in advance exactly what we're going to teach coming up for the next few months. So, and I did have to be a voice for that and say, like, I would like to offer some new stuff, but it's just too hard to decide what that's going to be and what that's going to look like that early in advance. So,
I think there's a lot of planning issues and staffing issues for my district. Like, so we have it's with the school calendar. So you register, and yes, we have 2 semesters, but the classes are set for the whole year.
Yeah.
In March of or February of the year preceding. But then the reason we don't know what classes we're teaching is that we've had a lot of troubles with low enrollment. So they don't want to have to drop a class and shuffle who's teaching what. And if they have a certain number of promised hours or whatever for educators, like, so that's why it's like they want to keep registration open as long as possible. So if the classes hit their minimums before August, then I will know what classes I'm teaching, they'll tell me, but it's our enrollment process stinks. So
Well-
people are often not doing it until classes have already started.
The unfortunate part for us is a lot of times our teachers don't know if they have enough students because until like the day before, because people don't enroll. They don't
So do you
enroll that
have,
early.
do you have minimums, or do you, like, do
Our-
you run a
Our
class?
minimums are ridiculous, I'll tell you. We have to have at least 2 parents for parent ed and at least 3 kids. And the teacher gets to decide if that's enough or not. We've changed it this year now. We've said at least 3 adults for parent ed and 4 students for the ECFE classes. So we have really low expectations for our enrollment to make that happen.
I kind of have a follow-up question for other people with that too. Like, so I've been teaching a class this spring that has technically 3 adults enrolled and 3 children enrolled. And very regularly I have 1 parent. And this is a parent who I've had a couple of years ago before, and it took me a whole year and a half to realize she doesn't not like me. It's just her personality. Like that she's very, very reserved and has some social awkwardness, and that's not on me, and she likes me just fine. Like, so I've gotten to that point of comfort, yay. But she's very, very not engaged with any kind of parenting topics. She's not interested. So I find myself every Monday morning sitting down with just this mom who's socially awkward, so we can't just have a conversation about whatever's going on in her life, and is very disengaged and uninterested in any kind of content. I'm like, what do I do for that hour that doesn't just feel like a waste of both of our times? Like, how do I
Well,
cope?
I feel like I think it needs to be more of a policy shift of like, I'm sorry, a class is not a class unless you have a bare minimum of 4. It's just not. It's not a good use of your time. It is not a class. It is not fair to families. This is my opinion on it. Like, you can tell me to stick it, but if you don't have 4 families, that is not a class. That is one-on-one. Like, I'm seeing a lot of nodding. So I would, Becca, I know that you don't have you don't have a lot of clout, like if you're not even able to choose your classes, but just say, I've been talking, and I think this is where these gatherings are really important because we're able to bring to the table examples of other programs. And you can say in Northfield, you got to have 4 kids enrolled. That's the minimum. If we don't have 4, yep, Greta's 5. If we don't have 4, we work really hard to make sure that there's 4. If we only have 3, we try to fit them in somewhere else. It takes a personal phone call. I am on the phone scrambling 3-4 days before a session saying, hi, can you go here? And then I sometimes ask parents who, like, if I have a full class on a Tuesday, I will email all of them if I know them and say, are any of you able to switch to Wednesday? And they're like, yeah, I can switch to Wednesday. I'm like, awesome. So then whoop, and then it's like musical parents, right? A class is not a class with 4. I'm sorry. It's just
I
not.
100% agree.
And
And technically our rule on the books, we'll get our rosters and we'll say minimum 5,
But they have to.
but
stick
we're
to
running
it.
these classes because
They have
this
to
is
stick
my
to it.
admins. They don't know what to do with us. We're paid, like my FTE is based on how many classes I'm teaching. And so they already shut down one of my classes that only had 1 enrolled. At least this other class technically has 3 enrolled. We're just not seeing that in attendance. But the other piece of that is this class that's on Mondays is a kind of specialty class. It's like practicing preschool. It's Monday and Wednesday is drop-off day. So it's like there isn't an easy shift into a different class. It's the only thing offered that's like that. And historically before COVID, it was a class that got full and it's been empty. So I don't think anything's going to change in between now and the end of May, but I've got to figure out how to manage my Mondays. Like coming up with something to help this mom feel engaged and like I'm not just wasting her time. She's definitely there for the kids. And she's opening up a tiny bit.
Can you lengthen parent-child time?
I
have
may
less
talk
parent
with,
time?
yeah, I may talk with my early childhood teacher, especially if there's only one parent.
We'll do that sometimes. Just this week, we had a class of 8, only 4 showed up.
Mhm.
And they're quiet parents. And I was like, I do not need 45 minutes of parent time. So we let them play another 15 and that was perfect.
Oh, in this class, I have an hour. An hour
Another-
with one parent who doesn't really want to talk.
Another thought might be come back after you talked about something and practice it. That's another idea.
That is a great idea.
Reunite and then do something
Yeah.
that you
I
talk
think I
about.
may try more like reflective dialogue with her, just because that like is something to watch and then talk about. And even if she feels like they're playing with blocks or, you know, like is really not super engaged, it's something to kind of get her thinking in that a magic store. That might be something I could do just with her. Just with her when 2 parents show up. So the third parent is a grandparent who's doing childcare and mom is really difficult. And so they haven't come since winter break. So I don't really count them at all. And the other parent is from Democratic Republic of the Congo and French is her first language and she's super quiet. So like, even when I have both parents who come, conversation is really, really challenging. But I love the idea, Greta, of going back a little early.
Have you asked her, this is Linda speaking, have you asked her what else she would like from the class and what she hopes to get out of it?
Yeah, she's one of those parents who's like, like she doesn't really give me anything at all.
Maybe she doesn't know what there is to get if she's
Yeah.
not interested in it. You know, do you know what any of her other interests are? What she likes to do with her kids, that connection piece?
Well, this last Monday, I decided to drop my lesson altogether. Oh, and the other complicated piece to this is she's also in my Thursday class. So she's getting content there. And I don't want to repeat the same content. So I just completely scrapped my lesson on Monday and we talked about childhood activities and sports, and because she was really into sports and how you figure out what's a good fit for your kid, how you do that balance between overscheduling and having time to play and be bored and helping them find their thing. So I actually felt like it wasn't too bad, but it's a little bit painful every Monday, kind of on the spot, coming up with what will be a productive use of time. And so she feels heard, connected, seen, and maybe learn something.
Well, it sounds like it's going better than you think it is, actually. You know, but it's not the typical model. And to your point, Ellen, about having minimum of 4 people, that is optimum. And I'm fortunate that we don't have to have those minimums with the current coordinator, because we would have had a lot of classes canceled. And then to somebody else's question mark, what do you do with us? We're on letters of agreements or / contracts, and we want to get paid. And I don't want to go down to 20 hours and not get my health insurance and not get those hours. So the teacher or the coordinator has felt that if we offer the class and there's 1 or 2 families, they can choose not to be in the class and drop, or they come because they want something to do and they don't care that there's not a whole big house full of people because of this thing called COVID, and they've got a place to go that's safe with their kids. And sometimes there's 1, sometimes there's 3 families. But given that we're getting at a start and people hear about it, especially with that new class or outdoor class, people are hearing about it, and we hope that it plants the seeds for more people to join in the future. So different perspective on the minimum number of people in a class. I have taught a class to 1 family 1 whole year. Yes, it was painful, but they needed it so badly that it turned out to be a perfect thing that I had them 1-on-1 all year long. I became quite close with them. Good, you know, they had another child. We had them again. We had them again. They kept coming. They kept needing it. The kids kept needing it and ended up having a little bit of special needs identification over time. And it was kind of a success story with 1 family. So different perspective on the 1 family thing.
I was going to comment too that, you know, we do something similar, like Ellen was saying, sometimes we'll shift and ask families if they can potentially attend in their time. But I think there's also this opportunity that it just hasn't happened in this particular class yet, Becca, but sometimes when we go through with that, offering the class with 2 people, before you know it, the class is up to 6 or 7. And it's like, oh, thank goodness we didn't cut it, because now look at, it's almost full. And so we continue to, I wonder if there's a marketing angle or like a, like not just marketing, but the one-on-one, like reaching out to specific organizations and seeking, like, do you have anyone?
Yes. Like, I feel like that's the real answer, Nikki, is like, our district desperately needs help with that. How do we market ourselves? How do we let people know about ECFE? Because this is a really great, the parent-child preschool thing is such an awesome setup. And I do not want to see that get dropped. And I'm still befuddled why we have almost no one enrolled in it. And our Thursday night class had only 2 people enrolled in January, and we now have 7, and it's a fantastic class. So I'm really glad that we didn't cut that. I don't want to cut classes. I just want to figure out how to be a more effective parent educator with what I've got.
I'm assuming you've like made Play-Doh or colored early literacy books. Whenever I had that for family school, I would get those very early readers and we'd color them and then add them to the kiddos library. So you sometimes getting her to do something like coloring or Play-Doh or a fidget, something that, her brain is busy thinking about something else, especially if she's kind of awkward. That kind of opens the door for some conversation.
Send me all of your ideas, Ellen. Because I will take all of them. I think a make and take, she has been hit or miss on those. Like sometimes when we've done something, she's like, yeah, my kids don't like that. And she just won't make it.
Right.
But, my plan for this coming Monday is a, what do they call them? Like a cootie catcher or a fortune teller. You know what I mean when I'm doing that, right? That's all about like growth mindset for her to do with her kids. So I have something, but I haven't done enough. Like we haven't made Play-Doh in class. Teacher Michelle, the early childhood teacher, makes it for the classroom, but we could totally just do that in class for her to take home.
Make oobleck, make flubber. Yeah, do the chia seed. Like, have you guys seen the chia seeds where you soak chia seeds in colored water and they take on the color? Make some of those kind of fun things. Yeah, Chris is like, what? Yeah, colored chia seeds. Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to add, provide her with, do you know why we do this stuff? And just do this little side input lesson on kids play with sensory stuff. And here's what they learned from it. And so you're teaching her without making her, feel like it's a lesson and you're the teacher.
Thank you guys. That's helpful. And like I said, you all have my email. If you have any great make and takes or things you've done like with parents, a lot of these things are things that our early childhood teachers done with the kids, but I haven't ever done just with parents. Send them to me.
I'll add, first I have a question. Tell me more about the fortune teller with growth mindset. I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. And but before I give you the mic, the idea I had is we did calm down boxes with the parents decorated them for the box. I collected shoe boxes and they put, pinwheels and different things in them to remind them about how to calm down. But they had their very own calm down box that Mom made for them.
If you give
Another
me a
thing
sec,
you
I'll
could
go
do,
find the
Becca?
fortune teller I found.
Fortune teller. While you find it, journaling. I had a group of moms and it was my family school class, but I would journal and I would have prompts. And sometimes the prompts were about their childhood and sometimes it was about their children. And sometimes I would combine those things together. But that is like 5 to 10 minutes of quiet journaling and then give her pretty paper, or you give her just white paper and then you mount it on pretty paper and then you put it in a sleeve. And at the end of the session, you hand her this beautiful binder of her thoughts and processes about her kiddo over the course of the session. So I have some journal prompts I'll send to you too. Oh, she won't do that.
She definitely won't do that. I this year at the beginning of the year bought a whole bunch of just little tiny craft notebook. So everyone has their own and everyone else will be taking notes and writing stuff and she hasn't touched hers. So she just is really difficult to engage.
I do have
Um,
one, and
yeah.
that, I don't know the age of your group. You said it's preschool, but I teach a multi-age class birth to 5 in Brooklyn Center. And I never know who's going to show up and I never know how old the children are. So each week I choose a lesson from the material on the website called Ready at 5. And they have different ideas for how to help infants, toddlers, and preschoolers gain skills in a myriad of topics.
Can you put a link to that in the chat, Linda?
Well, and I really have enjoyed. I print one off each week and say, this is what we're going to talk about in addition to Joy's concerns. And then I add into it their areas of interest. And usually I have to do that in follow-up, or sometimes I can pull up information on my computer and address it right then and there. But it always gives me something to talk about birth to 5. And
This
it's,
is
oh, cool.
This is the fortune teller I found online, and I'll find a link and put it in the chat. But it's about growth mindset, and when you open it up, it's like basically it gives you a question or a thing to do, doing the typical like count or spell out the word, and then you pick one on the inside. Brave, name one way you can be brave today. Gift, think of a random act of kindness and do it. Positive, list 3 ways to describe yourself and a loved one. Wonder, name a quality you need to invent something new. What would you invent? Dream, how can you turn a daydream into a reality? Some of these are a little bit much for like little kids, but a lot of my parents have school age kids as well. And I'm encouraging them to make their own and change the questions to ones that would be encouraging for their kids. Create a doodle word, phrase, or object that makes you smile. Name one of your goals and how you will achieve it. And courage, what does it mean to have courage? So those are the things on the cookie catcher that I could find.
Linda,
you.
can you say again, what do you print from Ready at 5? Like, where is it? I'm on it, but I'm not seeing like what you
Go to parent resources.
parent resources. Well, it's parents and resources. Like
Yeah,
there's 2 tabs.
My computer open, I'll do that. I'm still on my phone. I didn't switch to my computer. So go to for parents or parent resources.
For parents. Yep. Parents
then-
matter.
Parents matter. That's it.
Got it.
And there you'll see,
I see.
and then now click on one of those.
So
And-
language and literacy.
There's a lot of different topics.
Oh, there it is. Got it. And in
And the-
Spanish too.
Yes, it's also.
Awesome.
And
Okay, cool.
they have an interpreter for one of my classes, one of the classes, so I print them in English and Spanish. So it's been really helpful for me this year for that particular need.
Yeah, what a nice way to just, have a backup plan that doesn't take a ton of time, because it sucks when you put a ton of time into planning and 2 people show up. I mean, then you can use it the next week, but then the people who were there last week need something new, and so that's awesome.
And so it's always something that's useful for anybody because it's all about school readiness. So I've
Yeah.
built that thread of objectives. We're getting these kids ready for life. We're getting them ready for school, even in infancy, based on this information. So, and I don't have to come up with the information. It's all right there.
Work hard, smarter, not harder.
That's what I feel with this one.
I can share one idea that parents have in the past had some fun with, and that is 2 different kinds of reading to their kids, but reading wordless books, just picture books, sometimes poses such a challenge to families. They're like, well, what does it say? I don't see anything to read. And so along with that, I've given families wordless books and let them play with that. Then I've come back and given them books that have a lot of text on it, but in characters perhaps that they haven't seen. So if you give them, if they've only seen English or Spanish, give them Chinese, or give them the books that have characters that have words on it. So they're still to them, it's going to still look like a wordless book because the characters are not characters that that they're already familiar with. And it really opens up a dialogue to talking about how it is that kids truly learn to read, right? They're learning to read the pictures, they're looking at so many cues, they're learning by what we say and all of the responses and dialogic reading. But it's been a fun thing to give to them because they're like, oh, is that how they then look when the kids are really little? Is that how they're looking at the characters that they see in English or in Spanish, right? They look at it the same way as we see those books with words that we don't recognize. And so talking about the process of reading and how kids get that has been a really fun way to bring that forward.
Thank you.
One other idea of something you can do. I love doing a class called The Messier the Better. And I don't know that I want this recorded, but this isn't it, Susan. Susan,
You're muted, Susan.
Yeah, I'm muted. That humming, did you guys hear that humming?
Yep.
Isn't that weird? That was totally a recording thing.
I think Mary
Wasn't too
Kay.
loud.
I think Mary Kay's microphone maybe. No?
Okay,
No?
let me turn it off.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Good. Well, thank you for problem solving that with Mary Kay. What else is going
Well,
on?
Can I go back to where we kind of started with different types of classes? I have a question about
Yeah.
books. Does
Yeah.
anybody do book studies anymore? And if you have or do, I'd love to know what you do. Anyone?
I
No,
do.
where's- Yeah.
I do a books. We've done a book study a couple times. They aren't popular. We only get about 3 or 4 families that join, but I've been able to pick the books. So they've been books that I've really liked and want to dive deeper into. And it depends on the book. Like right now we're doing Hunt, Gather, Parent. And that just has like a lot of great content in it. So I don't pull a lot of my own stuff into it. But we just read 2 chapters a week. They usually are shorter classes. So they're about, I can't remember if this is a 6-week one or an 8-week one. We keep them shorter. It's not a full semester's worth. And so we do 2 chapters a week. And it's really, for me, it's just a lot of reflection questions. So like, what stuck out to you? What could you take away from this? What would work in your family? What wouldn't? Just kind of those open-ended questions. Another book study that I've done was Playful Parenting. And with that one, I would pull more information in from my teaching content. I would do like a slideshow presentation. I did reflective dialogue. I would have handouts, like those kind of things. But this Hunt, Gather, Parent book, we've had a lot to talk about. So I haven't had to pull a lot of content in from other sources. And I wish it was more popular because selfishly, I love reading books and talking about them to other families. But we just have not had a big turnout. We, as you all were talking about earlier about minimums, we do not have minimum requirements for our classes, which drives me crazy. And I've had a lot of discussions with our director about it, because I believe that the benefit of ECFE is the collective wisdom that happens. And that comes from other parents. That's not me, right? I could bring a few things in here or there, but it's really comes from other parents. So when there is only one parent in there, hello, what are you getting out of this? You know, again, I can do the best job that I can, but it is hard. But I also, unlike you, Becca, I design our whole program. I pick all the classes. I do all of that. And so I think it's just because my boss doesn't want to do it. So I just do it. but I like take it and run. Like I come up with all my own ideas and I just do them. I mean, I approach it to her as, oh, what do you think about this? But it's already all designed and done. And so, but then that it's a lot of pressure because for me, if those things don't, if they don't run, if there's not enough attendance, then I feel bad because I'm like, oh no, I missed the mark on that one, or this isn't needed. And you were talking about, we are having issues with night classes. Our night classes prior to COVID were pack jam with a waiting list, crazy, crazy, crazy. And now we've had to cancel so many evening classes because nobody signs up. Or we're running one right now that has 3 families. That's it.
Same, Megan. And I've been talking with families about that. And I'm catching daycare families at home like, hey, just curious, we've missed you. And I've over the last couple of weeks asked 5 families, and every single family said, we really appreciated our evenings at home during COVID. And we've decided to stop over scheduling our evenings. And the fact that I had not 1 or 2, but 5 families, these are full-time working families, say, we really like being home in the evening. And I feel you, because I know there are parents who need evening classes, but usually the parents who came to our evening classes really didn't need to be there, and their kids were basket cases. And an evening class for a toddler is inappropriate. I'm sorry. It's just, it's not age appropriate for a toddler to be up until 7:30 on a Thursday night. They should be at home in bed. You know what I mean? So on one hand, I'm like, oh, I know there are families who could be there. On the other hand, I'm like, oh, bless you. You are at home and you are having a lovely dinner with your family and bath, and you're getting your child to bed on time. And isn't that going to be better for everyone tomorrow? You know what I mean? So it's a double-edged sword, but I've just been collecting data, and that's what they're saying. They're just like, yeah, you know what? We're just doing swimming on Saturdays because our weeknights are so lazy and wonderful and we love it. How can I say no to that? How can I say no to that?
And that's what we have been hearing too, because I've been asking families, because again, we were just so busy prior to COVID. And then I think COVID caused a pause and figure out what is important, what is not. So that's why I was like trying to think for next year. I think we're probably still going to offer. I just don't think things are going to run. And then
I'm going to try virtual at night next year.
That's what I was just going to pop in and say. That's where like a parent ed only class.
Only once they're in bed.
If your district will let you do a parent only class, doing one that's like, and if you're willing to work late at night, right? Having a class that runs from like 8 to 9 or something, and it's after they put their kiddos to bed, could be a great way virtually. They don't have to. For so many families, the act of going out once they've come home is just so exhausting. I know it is for me. But it's like, okay, they can be in their jammies. They can be completely, we're home for the night, and then connect with you and other parents. We did something like that. My retired parent educator from when I was a parent in ECFE and I kind of together for parents of elementary school kids last year for a pandemic thing, and it had tremendous turnout. I just didn't quite have the oomph to do it all by myself and not get paid for it. So, because it wasn't through a district, it was just kind of a volunteer thing. But yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for that.
And we have been doing, our book study has been virtual, like just via Zoom. So it is only parent-based, obviously, that it's nothing to do with the children. And we do once a month, we do what we call a parent focus, and that has been Zoom too. So it's just a parenting topic. It's not with kids either. So I think that might be the way that we go into it, and just not, or maybe just instead of offering 2 or 3 nights of classes a week, we just offer 1. Yeah.
Because a lot of those full-time working families, a lot of families come to daytime ECFE because they want their kids to be with other kids. Those full-time working families, their kids are with kids all day, every day. Those daycare kids, they don't need any socialization. They're getting it day in and day out. So yeah.
for a lot of my evening class families, it's working parents who are really valuing both getting parenting time and getting one. They're almost all parents of more than one child, and they're only bringing one child, and the other parent is staying home with the other kids. And for them, it's the chance to get one-on-one time with a younger kid or a middle kid, you know, so that they're getting that one-on-one time is one of the reasons they're doing the evening class.
Greta, can you
And-
talk more about Date with Dad? Like, is that like a couple weeks of a class? Like, how do you structure that?
It's 6 weeks long, and we start it when it starts getting not nice outside, and they tend to stay inside and they want to do something. And we do it so late semester in the fall and early semester in the spring, 6 sessions, and they come in, it's an hour and a half. They come in, we eat pizza together, it's every week. It's just something so we can start a little earlier so they don't have to get supper before they come out. And then we do a circle time, and then we separate for about 25 to 30 minutes for dads. And then we reunite with a goodbye song. It works really well. The dads that come love it. And the moms that have the dads that come love it. It's just kind of it's a niche.
Yeah,
It's a
I
niche.
really want to do a dad class. And I've been trying to think that, so that's a really good model. I like that. And yeah, I have a lot of dads that I think would be horrified. So I love the idea of talking, at least at the very beginning. So having a really short time to talk, I think
Yeah.
is really important. I love it. Thank you. I've got so many good ideas for fall.
That's where like our shift was too, is that we used to have a dad's class every Tuesday night, and it was packed. And then right before COVID, we had to have 2 dads class because it was so packed with a waiting list. So we ended up running 2 classes for dads. And then since COVID has happened, we've had no dads. We've been offering a dad's class over and over, and not one family has showed up. So that has been like, it was the dad's class and the grandparent class were our most popular classes. So I'm not sure what that means, why that shift came. And maybe it will come back. Maybe it will, I don't know, but I hope it does. It was a great class.
Greta, I have a question. This is Linda. Do you have a specific curriculum that you use or set of topics that you work with, or
No.
what is your goal there?
It's not a dad specific curriculum for Parent Ed. It's actually do an interest finder the first night and come in the first night with all the different hats that we wear as parents. And then we talk about all the different things that they're doing and their roles. And then I asked a quick interest finder, just ask them for 5 topics that they'd like to talk about or they'd like more information on. It typically is the top 5, so you can guess probably what they are. It's usually around eating and sleeping and discipline and siblings, just kind of a top. And I usually it's more like come with a fact sheet, kind of like your the one that you shared today, parent, what was that one? The round to 5, that one, where you kind of come with a sheet and then we create discussion around it. So, but it varies. I mean, it's not just that. Right now I have a student teacher who's doing great and she's doing it, and she's brought in emotion books, talk about social emotional books. And so she's brought in books for them to look at or things like that. But it's not a dad specific curriculum.
I'm thinking that maybe to bring back the interest in the Date with Dad or a dad's class, and it goes back to the earlier discussion on how do we make a 3-week class or a 5-week class not a special event, but maybe do it a monthly class. And like a book study sometimes is a monthly class for the course of a year rather than every week at our school. And I don't know how that fits into the not a special event thing, but make it monthly to get it back on the ground and perhaps help to grow it.
Well, and I wonder if that's a way to do 4 different things at one time. Like you do a dad class that meets monthly, the first Monday of the month. You have a book club that meets the second Monday of the month. So you're working one night a week, but each month it's a little bit different. Or maybe it's twice a month. Maybe it's first and third Monday. And then the second and fourth Monday, then you do, I don't know, something else. So ways to not make it like so consistent that people have to come every week, but to be able to mix it up and mix and match a little bit.
One of the
I
things-
love that idea.
Me
I
too.
like it too, Ellen. One of the things that if you do it at the right time of year, you do have breaks. So, you know, if you do it in the late fall, then you have all those breaks. And then you do it early spring, there's some breaks in there too. And then that group for us, at least for Date with Dad, is the same, a lot of the same guys. Two new families and one that didn't come the second time. So it's kind of like a 12-week class in the end, but with breaks and not so much. But I love the idea of first and third, second and fourth. It's great for staffing it.
Right, because I mean, let's face it, I've said I'll work one night a week. I'm not working two. I'm sorry. I have teenagers. In a couple years when they're out of the house, I will work 2 nights a week, but I'm not in the right place in my life where I can work 2 nights a week. I'm just not doing it. And if you like, then go find somebody else to do it. Put out a job posting. I'm not doing it. And I'm really firm on that.
I use interest finders in most of my classes, and the most popular topic this year has been working better with my parenting partner.
Guess it's all that COVID time together.
I don't have a marriage and family therapy license to cover that topic. I feel like it's bigger than, I mean, you can touch it, but I don't know how to go into it very deeply.
Well, I don't have a marriage and therapy license either, but I do premarital education with couples. And there's some basic things about working together with people that are really not they're not therapeutic issues. They're just sometimes thinking about what some of the realities are. They would be not dissimilar from working better with your office partner or your next door neighbor or.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well,
Thank
you know, and some of the curricula out there for parenting together after divorce and separation, when I've reviewed those, it's just like, well, these are like really good tips for people co-parenting, period. Like, are we talking about that enough? So, yeah. Well, it's after 1, so, you know, and this group could just go on and on and on. But in the sake of people's time, and other people have had to leave, we'll come to closure. Is there anything else anyone wants to bring up, announce, ask, throw out for next week?
I was just going to quick add in the chat, but I'll just say it in a sentence. I really appreciated hearing the different perspectives on the autonomy or lack of autonomy and input on schedules, classes, process in which that takes place. It is very different from what I have experienced in my years of parent education, to have any autonomy and ability to make decisions around that. I can give input, and sometimes it's accepted and sometimes it's not. And I just thought I'd shed some light on a medium-sized to large district and how that's worked for me for the last 14 years.
I think, Glenda, you hit on it. It's size of districts as well as leadership styles, right? I think that's huge. And historics are the story that, you know, the narrative that you're coming from, for sure.
If we continue this next year, we'll have a new coordinator / director / structure. So I can shed new light on things, and maybe it'll be better, maybe it'll be different, maybe it'll be worse. I don't know, but it will be different for sure because we're having a new coordinator come in. So thanks for letting me say that. I thought I'd share that with you.
But maybe a healthy coordinator will not change everything, and they work with it for a while. That's what I always hope when change happens, right?
Yeah, or at least, you know, keep the things that we all like and want and change the only things we don't want in the perfect world. All right, thanks.
And
everybody.
next week, are we meeting at 12:30 because of Manafi?
That's right. That's right. Yes. Yes. Oh, in fact, I think I might have even made that change in the Facebook thingy. But yes, so 12:30 next week. Thank you, Becca, for that reminder.
Glenda, I put a link to the chat in Right there. Did you see it? It's in the chat. So if you click on that, that's the whole chat transcript.
Awesome. You are great. Thanks so much. I'll
Yep.
copy it.
And I'll add your name to the listserv. So,
All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great week.
yeah, you guys too, and we'll see
See you at
you
Manafi.
at Manafi.
I won't be there, but have fun. Bye.
Yep. Bye.